Welcome back to the kitchen. Okay, today we are going to make Gouda cheese. We're going to do 2 gallons of milk. So this is my cheese pot, and it already is sterile and clean to go. And I have 2 gallons of milk right here. Okay, the cream is very thick. So I have a spatula, and you just want to scrape all that goodness out. Okay. Oop. Okay, let's get the second one now. Turn this a little bit. There we go. Handles were in my way. There we go. So the milk is in there. So now my milk is in there. And you're going to put it on medium. Your cheese pot, you want a nice heavy bottom pot. It prevents it from scorching on the bottom. I'm going to put it on medium, and we're going to heat it to 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Now what I use is the Mesophil Aroma Type B. You can see that. Okay. And because I'm doing 2 gallons, I've already figured it out over the years. I use 2/8. So this is a 1/8 measuring spoon, and I will just simply dig into it, level it out, and sprinkle it on top. And then because it is freeze-dried, I let it sit for 1 minute, and then I will stir it in. And then I put the lid on it and let it sit for 10 minutes. I'm going to check the temperature right now again. Oh, it's perfect. Okay, it's at 89. Now I know my pot, so once it hits 90, I can turn the heat off and it will maintain that temperature because it is a heavy bottom pot. And once you learn your equipment, okay, level, you'll know when you can, if you can leave it on the element, or if you have to remove it. Okay, I'm going to let that sit for 1 minute. Okay, the culture's been sitting for 1 minute. Now I'm going to give it really good stir, kind of doing a figure 8 and going down to the bottom, bringing it up. Now at that point, you're going to put the lid back on, set the timer for 10 minutes, and let it sit for 10 minutes. While that's sitting for 10 minutes, we're going to get the rennet ready. I use tablets. You can use liquid, whatever you can get your hands on where you are. Now, 1 tablet does 4 gallons. They have a little grid on them where to cut. And so because we're doing 2 gallons, we're just going to simply place our knife in the center and press straight down. Okay, now this does happen with the tablets, so that's okay. It didn't go straight down. Just, you know, slide it off the best you can. Pop the other half back in, seal it. Now, just take your knife, put it in there, right? You don't want to waste it. It usually breaks cleaner than that, but then I take 2 spoons, just like this, and you just want to squish it. It just helps dissolve it in the water quicker. And 3/4 cup of warm water. Good, warm, filtered water. And that's it. And let that rennet dissolve. The timer went off, and it's been sitting for 10 minutes. I just want to check the temperature. That's perfect. Okay, it's at like 93, but that's okay. Now, you're going to add your rennet. Okay, I'm just going to add it. I always like to scrape the sides because I don't like waste. Now you just want to take your spatula and mix it in a figure 8, kind of lifting the bottom up a little bit for 1 minute. Maintaining the temperature at 90 degrees Fahrenheit. We're going to let this rest for 1 hour. It's been an hour. And you should have this beautiful curd. I'm going to cut into it. Nice clean break. See that? Now we are going to cut this into 1/2-inch cubes. And what we're going to do is we're going to go one direction, then the other direction, and then we're going to go on an angle. Put the lid back on and let that rest for 10 minutes. So what we have to do now is remove about 1/3 of the whey. Let's see if you can see that. Okay, we want to remove about 1/3. First, I actually take my spatula and I just scrape the sides and give it a nice gentle stir. I should show you how big a curd is. If you can see that. It's a nice 1/2-inch. Anyway, see that? Nice curd. Nicely separated from the whey. So what you need to have on hand is water that's about 175 degrees Fahrenheit. So I boiled some good filtered water, and I have some room temperature water, good water. And I just want to bring it up to 175. And I've done this enough to know that it will be 8 cups. I usually go 4 cups of room temperature water and then 4 cups of the boiled water. But you do your thing, check it. Okay, so you want water that's 175 degrees Fahrenheit. And now we're going to drain 1/3 of this whey off, and I'll show you how I do it. To drain it, I will simply lift this pot up and pour it out, but I pour it through a metal sieve. Again, make sure all your equipment, especially your metal sieve, is clean and sterilized, because if any curds fall into it, I'm just going to dump it back in. Tip, get yourself a nice clothespin, put it on there. It's like a 3rd hand there, right? Okay, so I'm going to do this over here, so hopefully you can see. Like I said, I know my pot, I know how much it makes, so I'm looking to take out about 8 cups. this, feed to your chickens, your pigs. It's really good whey protein. I'm just going to take the temperature. Now what we want to do is bring the temperature of the whey back up to 92 degrees Fahrenheit. Giving it a little stir. And that's good. It's at 93, but that's quite okay. Now we're going to put the lid on and let it rest for 10 minutes. The curds have sat for 10 minutes. We're going to drain 1/3 of the whey off again. Temperature here, just so you know. Okay, so the temperature is 93 degrees. It's perfect. Now again, I have water here that is 175 degrees Fahrenheit, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add it until I bring up the whey temperature to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And you'll know, once you make this cheese a couple times, you'll know how much water to add. Okay, it's at 98. $101. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to put the lid on here. Now you want to maintain it at 100 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 minutes. I'm going to set the timer for 15 minutes. But what you're going to do is come back and stir it you're going to come back and stir it every 3 minutes because you don't want it to mat on the bottom. You're going to come in and you're going to stir the curds. I hate this timer. Okay, so for 15 minutes you're going to come back every 3 minutes or so and give the curds a stir. Set the timer for 15 minutes and we came back about every 3 minutes and stirred it. And then at the end of 15 minutes we gave it a good stir and then we put the lid on it and we let it rest for 30 minutes. And what I like to do before I put it in the press is just drain off some more whey. And because it's matted on the bottom, it's really easy to pour off the whey at this stage. Let's get started putting the curds into the press. So you want to make sure it's centered in your press, and I always like to feel it because I don't want my cheese lopsided, so I try and get it as level as possible, and then make sure it's all the way down and it still remains square. And now you're going to turn and add weight. It's already at 30 because there were so many curds. But you want to do at least 20 pounds for 20 minutes, and then we're going to come back. What I'm going to do though is I don't like to leave my press sitting in whey, but it's just not a very good design. So I take a measuring cup and I just put it on a slight angle. See that? Slight angle. So we're going to come back in 20 minutes. And remember, we had it at 40 pounds for 20 minutes. So now we're going to take it out and we're going to rewrap it in some clean cheesecloth. And then we're going to press it for 50 pounds, 12 to 14 hours. So in 12 to 14 hours, you are going to remove it from the mold and place it into the brine. Just how this one is here in the brine. Happy cheese making.